In middle school, a group of girls and I, the talent show was coming up, so we decided we were gonna be the Spice Girls. And everyone fit the role perfectly. You have no idea, everyone looked exactly like the Spice Girls, except, well, me. I was Ginger Spice, and there was no way anyone was gonna know I was Ginger Spice. So I said, oh, I know, I'll dye my hair bright red, like fire engine red, then everyone will know who I am. Okay, so obviously hair dyeing is one of the no-nos in the house. No hair dye, ever. No need to dye your hair. Your hair is beautiful. People pay money for that kind of hair. Okay, fine. Well, I wanted to dye my hair for the talent show. So I went out and I bought mousse, wash out, hair dye, red mousse. And I said, this is not permanent. It comes out in one wash. I'll put it in the night before. Everyone will be so shocked. We'll look great. The show will go fine. I'll wash it out. No one will say anything. Okay, so here I am putting the red fire engine mousse in my hair. And my hair is wet. And I put in the mousse and I can't comb it through. Now in our bathroom is a little bench. And it's an upholstered bench. And it's upholstered in white cloth. So here I am combing my wet hair with red fire engine mousse. Sure enough, my mom comes upstairs and says, oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm putting the mousse in. After we spoke about it, a few harsh words passed. Okay, fine, it's mousse, it washes out, it's okay. It's not hair dye, fine. I wish you had told me before you got the mousse, but fine, okay. Well, then she looks around the room and she sees the little bench with all red freckled spots all over the couch. Well, that was the end of it. No more mousse. I washed it out right then and there, and I did not have my red fire engine hair for the talent show. But it taught me a lesson. Do not do what you're not supposed to, because I ruined the couch. And my mother said, had you had listened to me and not dyed your hair, do you see what you would not have done to the white upholstered couch with now, which still to this day have the fire engine red speckles on them. So, you know, when they tell you no for more reasons than one. I had to learn that the hard way, of course.
So Alicia, did you ever try to dye your hair?
Well, no, but I can still relate to Margot's story. You know the times when you want to do something, and you don't think it's a big deal, but your parents, for some reason or another, don't want you to do it. Like this one time, I wanted to go into New York City with my friends at night, but my parents didn't let me go because they didn't think it would be safe.
I'm not even going to tell any stories. I have too many. I'm always fighting with my parents on what my boundaries are.
It's hard as you grow older, and your opinions and ideas begin to change and develop, and your ideas about the world and yourself begin to change as well.
Yeah, it's only natural to want more freedom and independence.
Exactly. Teen freedom and negotiating with our parents. That's what we'll be talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Alicia.
And I'm Jonathan.
And this is Real Faith TV.
I know we all have said it. You just don't understand.
Or, you don't let me do anything.
The list goes on, but how do we communicate and negotiate with our parents?
Despite Margot's opening story about a time when she didn't get what she wanted, she feels she has a good relationship with her parents and has found a happy medium when working out her freedom.
Margot is in the spotlight today, and we'll talk more about negotiating with her parents.
Our music video today is A Little More by Jennifer Knapp.
We will hear from our studio guests about how they negotiate with their parents, but first we will meet our teens on the street and find out if they feel their parents are strict or lenient and how they get along with them.
Growing up, I was in a conservative Christian home, and it was pretty strict. They kept me on a pretty short leash, but as I showed more responsibility and took more responsibility, they gave me more freedom. And so now I'm 18, and they basically say, well, we raised you now, so we have to trust you to make wise decisions.
They give me just as much as I need to do my own thing, but they also, make sure I do my work and everything, and they make sure that I do well in school.
I think that sometimes my parents don't give me enough freedom because they always say, my dad says sometimes that I do stupid things and I screw up a lot of situations, but I also don't really have too many more opportunities to change that idea. It's one or two chances and then that's it.
Too much freedom is a bad thing, so. My parents are actually doing pretty good.
If I abuse the privileges, then the freedom's cut down.
I guess any freedom that I have is earned.
I don't know, my dad's too strict, but my mom's a little lenient.
Sometimes they're too lenient because there's things that I don't think I would let my kids do, but I enjoy doing them and they know that, so they let me. But too strict sometimes. If I do something wrong, maybe they punish me too harshly, but I'm a kid, so I'm gonna make mistakes.
They don't trust me enough. They never trust me.
I know when I'm pushing my limits to go out and stuff, but I think that basically they're pretty fair with my age and what I'm allowed to do.
I don't know, I guess they just feel like since, I don't know, I'm young and I could do whatever I want, but I think they give me way too much.
They put rules on me, but they're not really exactly strict. They don't force me to do anything that I really don't want to do, but they're strict enough. They'll give me certain limitations, which is good.
Well, I think my parents are pretty understanding people, and I guess when I talk to them, they usually listen to me.
We talk to each other and we don't really argue that much. We pretty much just sit down and talk about it and figure out a compromise.
Because they're always there for me. They're my parents, and I can ask them anything I want to.
If they know where I am and if I'm truthful about where I'm going, then they really have no reason to mistrust me, and I have no reason to lie about it. So I still know they care because I was out late last night, and I came home and my dad was sitting on the couch, so they let me go, but I still see that they still care when I get home.
Most of the teens we met seem to think that their parents are pretty reasonable.
Yeah, they're reasonable, and they have some restrictions, but they're not that bad as long as they don't lie and they're truthful.
Exactly.
Let's meet our studio guests. Today we have Ross, Catherine, Christina, Anthony, and Vanessa.
So do you guys think that your parents are lenient or strict, and what kind of relationship do you have with them?
My parents they're not strict at all unless it comes to something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, they let me get away with basically anything.
I think my parents would be considered strict by anyone else's standards, but to me, I think they're reasonable, and I have a great relationship with them. So if I want to stay out past curfew, all I have to do is call and tell them where I am and stuff, and they.
Same thing with me too. Since I've been driving, I have to be home by 12. But usually, if I'm out with a friend who's driving, I'll be like, "Mom, can I stay out to 1 o'clock?" We're just hanging out on the beach. She'll be like, "Okay," as long as you tell me the truth and where I really am, they really don't care.
Exactly. My parents give me a lot of rope, but they don't give me too much that I hang myself, and I think that's a relationship that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my parents, it's they're strict. But if I really want to do something, they'll go, "Oh, okay," because I can sort of make them slide one way or the other. And sometimes we'll have these monster fights. We're still really good friends and everything. I like to say I'm friends with my parents. My dad, whenever he doesn't do anything, I'll just joke around and go, "Oh, hey, I hate you," and then I'll go, "Yay!" Do a happy dance. It's sort of a joke thing.
Exactly. That's what I was talking about before when I said I'm always fighting with my parents. They're still my best friends, but we argue over stupid things "Oh, I want to go to this party." "Well, you can't." And then I'd be like, "Oh, I can't stand you. I wish I had any other parents." You say stupid things when you're mad, and we usually we make up in a few hours and everything's fine.
Yeah, my parents are the same way. They'll let me go out whenever I want, and there it's okay. But after 2 or 3 weeks of me actually going out every other night, they just ask, can you stay home? Can you, not do this? And you got to be lenient. You got to be able to flex. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do anything. You're just going to be unhappy.
Any form of negotiation needs two parties. It is a two-way street and involves a process of give and take.
If we expect parents to understand us, then we must try to understand them.
Next up, Margot talks more about how she successfully negotiates with her parents.
I've always wanted to go tanning. Tanning has been such a big issue in our house right now. And when I was in middle school, all the girls were doing it. Everybody. And I said, that's crazy. They're so young. Why are they going? I just didn't see the need. Okay, now as I'm older and events are coming up and, you're going out and how you look depends on what you wear, that kind of stuff. So I always wanted to have that little tan during the winter. Okay, fine. Well, my parents, flat out, hands down, no, never. It's never gonna happen. All the reports, it's not good for you, it's not good for your skin, it's unhealthy, are you crazy? Everything has come up. Well, why not? And then there's the sunless tanners and everything else. There's so many different ways to get around it, but it's just no, 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 no. So when I sat back and I thought about it, I said, what are my parents thinking? And I said, you know, what is the problem here? And I realized, why change yourself just to look like everybody else? And I, approached them again and I said, okay, you know what? No, it makes sense. And the first thing that I went to was our faith. And what did we learn? What does Jesus say? Don't change yourself for anyone else. Be happy with who you are, right? Why do you have to be different to be happy? Take what you have and accept it. Knowing this, finally, with my parents, we calmed down, and it's not so much of an issue anymore. And occasionally I'll be like, oh, well, this one big thing, and they just say no. And I sit back and I think, no, they're right. They are right. They say when you're older, if you really, that's how you feel, if that's what your heart is set on, when you're older and you're on your own, go ahead, go for it, be my guest. And they'll throw in the guilt trip of, but you're gonna ruin your skin and all this stuff. Despite whatever I really want, if I really wanna go out somewhere, I really wanna get something, I have to make sure I can see my parents' side of the story too.
Wow, that's good.
If we both were set on our ideas and stubborn and didn't compromise at all, I would never be allowed to do anything. So in order to get some things, give up one or two here and there, but it all balances out in the end. I think teens don't have a close enough relationship with their parents. A lot of kids are all or nothing kind of deal. If they want something, they'll fight for it, and if they just don't get it, there's a yes or no answer, and if they don't get it, then they end up with nothing. And it's kind of a bad reflection on both the kids and the parents, because by not caring for each other and showing respect for each other, neither one of them looks very well.
I definitely can relate to Margot's story, and the fact that her parents didn't want her to tan because it was bad for her skin really shows that parents make rules because they love us and they want to protect us ultimately.
Yeah, we might not see where they're getting at. We might just be like, oh, they're mean, that I can't take them, but I think they know a little bit more about life than we do. They've been around a lot longer than we have. Maybe we should listen to them a little more than we do.
Let's go back to our teens on the street and find out what kinds of conflicts they have had with their parents.
Yeah, they're not in favor of the boy-girl sleepover, so. And just that have come up a few times.
Just when I want to, go to the beach or whatever, sometimes they'll just try and stop me, but I think most of the time they're pretty lenient on me.
A couple of times, just every once in a while I just get in a big argument and I find myself just leaving my house,
I think that I should have a choice whether if I want to go somewhere with my family or with my friends, and what they should do is they should let me make the right choice.
I want to stay out till 12:30 because everyone else's curfew is 12:30, but they make me come home at 12. So I just I have to beg them to come home at 12:30.
I don't know, sometimes my mom won't let me stay late when all my friends are starting going out that time.
What do you think would help you to talk to your parents in the future?
I think we both need to just understand that we're both coming from one place, and we need to listen to each other better, because right now we're not really listening.
The last girl had a good point when she said that communication is important between parents and kids.
Yeah, it is. You're not going to know what each side's thinking of. You might think that it's okay, you think that something's okay, and you might go out and do it without talking to your parents, and you get in a lot of trouble, and you could ruin a big part of your life.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Can you guys think of any conflicts that you've had with your parents and how they were resolved if you did resolve them?
Oh yeah, there was this one time, there were lots of times, but there's this one specific time where I was just in a bad mood. I was getting ready for school and everything, and I went downstairs and my mom's like, yo, it's gonna be cold, you might want to take a jacket or something, right?
Yo.
So, no, I'm paraphrasing. So anyway, I didn't feel like getting a jacket or anything because I thought I was fine the way I was, and my school is usually very warm because we're overcrowded and body heat and all that stuff. So I didn't feel like it. So I went upstairs and I figured if I sit in my bed and wait till I'm almost gonna miss the bus, that I won't have to wear anything. So I'm sitting up there and sitting up there. And finally, my mom comes upstairs because like I've been sitting for a fairly long amount of time because I can't sit still for a long amount of time. So my mom comes up and she starts, like, why didn't you get blah 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 blah. She's like talking to me and then she's yelling at me. I'm just sitting there and I'm just trying to do like some sort of Gandhi sit-in type thing where I'm not talking. I'm just sitting doing nothing. So then she like wakes up my dad. My dad comes in. He starts talking to me. I'm just sitting there. She's like, if you don't get a jacket on or whatnot, I'm gonna take a scissors and cut your shirt in half. And I'm like, yeah, right. I'm like thinking it, and I'm just sitting in my bed waiting. My dad's trying to talk to me. Everyone's trying to reason with me. I just wouldn't hear it. I don't know. I got up on the wrong side of bed or something. So my mom actually comes in with scissors, cuts my shirt up the middle, and I'm still sitting there. And it's just like, I don't know. And then finally I ended up I started crying and then we all laughed at it and then I went to school. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been a few times.
I've never had anything that bad.
I don't think anybody has. I remember this one time, like past year, there was prom and all that kind of stuff, and I remember I really wanted to go to one of my friends' after parties, but like my mom, my parents, they weren't really, they didn't want to do that. They were real worried about me, so what we ended up doing was just sitting down and talking about it, and we ended up coming to a decision that I could have some friends over and hang out at our house, and that way my parents wouldn't worry that someone was no one was home, I was gonna get in trouble. They knew that they could keep me under control, and that ended up being the best.
Yeah, I remember. Well, I had the same problem with my parents trying to get to the same party Anthony was, and I ended up talking to my parents, and my parents talked to his parents, and I ended up going over his house, And I think my parents earned some respect for me for I went and talked to them and was like, Mom, I was gonna go to a party where there was no parents, and I'd rather just go to Anthony's. And they were like, okay, well, we respect you for that. It's a very grown-up thing to do. And, I get benefits from that.
It all depends on the attitude you bring, too, when you're trying to talk to your parents. If you go in with a positive attitude and you listen to what they have to say, then they're going to be more receptive to the things that you want.
Exactly. The more respect and trust you show your parents, the more lenient they'll be.
Yeah.
Sometimes we might have difficulty understanding the changes that are taking place in our lives.
We may try to justify our behavior by saying that because of these changes, we just can't help the way we are.
But we can help who we are. We alone control our actions.
That's right. We can begin to make our faith truly our own and a real part of our lives, rather than just go through the motions.
Will our faith be a significant part of our decision-making, the way we treat and respect others and ourselves?
In this last segment, Margot talks about the importance her faith plays and how she negotiates her freedom with her parents.
When I was getting ready for prom, one of the big issues was what time to be home. And we had talked about it for a while because a few months earlier we had a winter ball from school, and for that I was allowed to stay out till 12. So for senior prom, it's an older group of kids, it's more traditional. An extra hour was appropriate. It wasn't, off the wall, out of nowhere. We talked about it a long time just to make sure they knew where I was going, straight from prom to a party where there would be other adults and, tons of other people around. We weren't just, going off to the beach or going off, to a hotel or anything like that. Definitely there was no drinking, no driving around from one person to another. We made sure there was always a driver around. All these different things helped my parents to understand that I wouldn't just be wasting the night away. There was a set plan. That's the biggest thing, to have plans established ahead of time, not calling up from prom, oh, well, I'm leaving now and I'm going with some kid I don't know. It has to be all set in stone pretty much before I could even leave the house, which is good because then I don't feel all crazy when I'm out by myself. I know how things are supposed to run. So they could pretty much keep tabs on me from the house. They knew exactly where I was. Well, right now it's 11 o'clock, she should be. So it worked out pretty well. If my parents didn't restrict me, would I be different? Probably not, no. I mean, as long as I still had in my head everything that they've taught me so far and knew what was right and wrong, I would act appropriately. I might stay out an extra hour or go do something crazy and, cut and dye my hair. But if I couldn't share it with my parents, then it wouldn't mean anything. Since I started youth group this year, I always have in the back of my head what we've been learning, what is morally right, what should be done, And I always have that when I'm asking my parents for things or when we're talking about things. And your faith helps you have more of an adult understanding because it's the way adults think, the right way, You, as long as you have that in the back of your head, you're pretty clear-headed and you can take things in stride and know what buttons to push and how far you can go. Teenagers have tons of stress every day, school, sports, activities, friends. I'm blessed with the fact that I can let out all that stress and frustration with my family. We are close enough and it allows us to come together, all these different discussions and problems that we all have, not just me, each of us. We can come to each other as a family in faith and pray together for each other and talk things out and learn from each other and teach from each other. My parents learn from myself and my younger sister every day. We teach them something new, and what we get out of them is endless. And that helps us all become stronger people in everything we do.
Margot is so right that as much as our parents set our guidelines for us, we're getting older and soon we're going to be making our own decisions. And we need to have the morals and guidelines on our own that we set for ourselves to do what's right.
Yeah, I know what Margaret was talking about when she said everything has to be set in stone before she leaves the house. My parents are the same way. I think it's annoying after a while, but it really is a good thing because you know where you're going, your parents know where you're going, and nobody's worried or frightened, and everything goes pretty smoothly.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier because my parents taught me my faith, so it helped me make decisions.
Mm-hmm. And also, we as teens have to follow the fourth commandment, which is honor your father and your mother, so that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Our video today is also about submitting to the grace of a higher authority. It's called A Little More by Jennifer Knapp.
Let's check it out.
Turn your eyes from on this way. I have proved to live a dastardly day. I hid my face from the saints and the angels who sing of your glory. What you had in mind said I through my weakness shine, shine, show me grace. A little more than I can give, little more than I deserve. On earth this holiness, I can't earn it. A little more than I can give, little more than I deserve. For all the sin that lives in me, it took a nail to set me free still. What I do, I don't wanna do, and so goes the story. What you had in mind, that one we seek will find, shine, show me grace.
That video is really cute, and it shows the relationship that we should have with God, our Father in heaven, and how He grants us grace and understanding, and how we should kind of reciprocate and really respect the things that He tells us and things that we know are right through Him.
Yeah, you know, He knows a lot more than we do, and we should listen to Him and respect what He has to say.
I think, we should respect our parents the same way because they have more experience than we do, and we should sort of respect their decisions for us because they know what's best.
Yeah, and we should negotiate with our parents and compromise with them. It's a give and take situation.
To fulfill our obligation as respectful teenagers, it can be difficult and painful.
Sometimes even confusing and frustrating.
A few things to keep in mind that might help you better communicate with your parents are:
avoid emotional confrontation. Better to take a breather and come back later when you're calmer.
try not to accuse them. Rather, give them the benefit of the doubt.
Only make promises you know you can keep.
Keep the airwaves open. Constant communication with absolute honesty.
Work through your chores and homework as a priority, because those who can be trusted with small things can be trusted with greater things.
And most importantly, remember to stick close to God in prayer and let God guide you in your relationship with your parents.
How do you get along with your parents?
Do you find it hard to negotiate with them?
We want to know. Contact us through our website.
Post your thoughts on our message boards or drop us an email. The address is realfaithtv.com.
Or if you're not connected to the internet, you could call us at area code 609-406-7402.
And remember, as you negotiate with your parents, be sure to treat them with respect, dignity, and love, just as Jesus deals with us in our relationship with Him.
And strive to live up to who you are called to be, sons and daughters of our Father in heaven.
Thanks for joining us today. We will see you next time on Real Faith TV.
God bless.